Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird, bird, bird. Well, a bird is a word. Oh, well, a bird.
Everybody, welcome to Rule the Roost Podcast. I have a very special guest today, Victoria. She's my sidekick. It's been a while since we did one of these because I've been traveling around the country and teaching people how to do bird work and just all over the place. So it's good to be back in the studio with you.
Yes, it is.
And I do have a joke.
Okay.
I have to have a joke. It's been a while since I told a joke. So why do ducks never carry cash?
Why do ducks never... something about their bills? They're bill free or...
No, they just put everything on their bill.
Oh, okay.
You're very close. It's getting tough to find good bird jokes. Let me tell you, there's not that many. Some of them are really bad. So like I was saying, I've been doing a lot of traveling and stuff. Talked to a lot of different people. Spring is our time of the year where the birds are coming out.
This is your busy season.
So I wanted to start off by talking about some turkey vultures. A lot of turkey vulture issues out there. So matter of fact, last week we got two separate turkey vulture calls. And they were innocuous. One was actually a telephone call, and one was an email. And I got on the phone with the gentleman. He said, I have turkey vultures sitting on my house, and they're just sitting on my balcony, and they're just making a mess in the yard. And that was what he told me, how we get rid of them. And my first thought always is, well, why are they there? What's going on? What's so special about your house? And he said, well, glad you asked me because it's not me so much, but my next door neighbor feeds them. And I said, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. So we suggested, to hang spray the top of the house with our tank mix spray. He had tiles on the roof. I said, look, anything that you see a bird picking and poking on, use some more UV paint on that, and then spray the tank mix with the Invisalign, and hang a turkey vulture effigy up someplace in plain sight. And I always reiterate to people, you don't have to hang the turkey vulture up so that your neighbor sees it or that it freaks out with this thing hanging in the wind. Just put it someplace where the birds see it.
Okay.
And then maybe have a conversation with your neighbor, not to feed the birds,
Yeah.
But the whole thought there was, all right, so if we can keep them off of your roof by spraying, religiously, and hang that turkey vulture up, maybe they're just going to go hang at the neighbor's house, and maybe then she'll stop feeding them because they're pooping all over her house.
Yeah.
So that was a simple one. We're going to see how that goes. And what I tell people all the time is, look, keep in contact with me. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Because Mother Nature has a way of throwing weird things at people. So if the first step doesn't work, maybe we have to add something or come up with something different. But usually that works pretty good. So then a couple days later, we got an email from a fellow. He sent us a picture of his yard and a fence that surrounded a retention pond.
Yes.
Same thing. Got turkey vultures. They're making a mess. They're pooping on my yard, my house. How do I get rid of them? And again, first thing came to mind is, well, why are you so special that you have turkey vultures hanging out around your house, in the trees, on your, on the fence, right around a retention basin? And it turns out when I got him on the phone, he's got a waste management facility right across the street that has a big building filled with refuse that birds are eating.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're hanging on his house, loafing, flying across the street, and then eating the food there. So he was actually going to approach the waste management facility. So we gave him some ideas what to do at his place, and also some ideas to give for the waste management place. But that's always the key to things. If you have birds in a building, birds on a building, birds in breezeways, it's always, the first question is, why?
Yeah.
When you go to check it out, you look down, you see where the poop is, and you can, wherever the poop is, you look up and that's where the birds are. It's pretty simple. And then you ask that, why are they here? It's either food, shelter, water, good nesting sites. They like dead air spaces, so that's always the next step. And once you understand why they're there, then you can start doing things, Unfortunately, we get a lot of calls with people that have birds in nests that are really established. And that's the hardest scenario.
Yeah.
If once a bird is established and there's like a mom and dad bird there, some of these smaller species, they're monogamous in nature, so they'll pair up for years.
Yeah.
And they'll return to the same nesting site year after year. And once they've established the nesting site, it's hard to stop them. But if you wait till they build the nest and there's babies in there, you can forget about it.
Yeah.
You can pull that nest down and you're going to build another one. And then you have to be careful because some of the birds are, protected. So you have to check. And now you can just chat GPT a picture of the bird. And it'll tell you if it's protected or not.
It's true.
The AI is a wonderful tool. I use it all the time because I get people calling, what kind of bird is this? There's guys in Trinidad. He's wanting me to identify a bird in Trinidad. I've never been to Trinidad. And I don't know, but ChatGPT told me exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Make me look smart, So we're doing some stuff over there too, which is pretty
very
cool,
cool,
Yeah. So, but yeah, been just traveling around the country, teaching people what to do and how to do it. And I know we talked about the parking garages a while back, and I got a lot of views. People were interested about that. And we just recently had another parking garage inquiry, and it was for a casino. I don't even know where it is, someplace in the country. It's a casino, and they wanted to treat the outer ledges of the parking garage, and they wanted to treat the inner ledges, and they had some beams going along the top of the building, all cement covered. But they didn't want to do anything with the water pipes for the sprinkler system. So the casino doesn't want to do anything for those pipes. And that was just the email I got.
Okay.
So before we even engaged in coming up with a game plan, I emailed them back and I said, look, if you take away the ledges, you take away the perimeter ledges, you take away the beams going across on the columns, you're going to drive those birds to those pipes, and guess where the pipes are?
Yeah.
Right above all the parked cars. I said, this is not a good plan.
Yeah.
I said, go back to the customer. I said, look, we have to treat these pipes, or don't waste your time, and then you have to spray monthly to keep everything happening. So that's what he's going to do, and we'll see how it goes. But half of what we do is just guiding people in the right direction.
Yeah.
People get these crazy ideas.
Well, and it is funny. People only want to do half of it. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't want to fully commit to.
Yeah. Well, so what happens is with sales guys too, and they don't do it on purpose. What happens is they want to get in the door, they want to sell the job, and the customer is looking for the cheapest option. So we always give them, hey, you got to do A, B, C. Do A, B, C, you're going to have success.
Yeah.
But then they propose A, B, C, and then the customer comes back and says, well, it's a little steep. Can we just try A or B or just A?
Yeah.
And then the sales go, sure, we can. But then I know it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, that's what Erica says. We can't guarantee it will work.
It won't work.
Yeah.
And then then you get a call. I had a couple guys. They were spraying inside warehouses, and it's all metal beams and stuff, and they were spraying the tank mix, and it was early spring, so it's still kind of cool out. And the tank mix works great on porous surfaces. It works great on warm areas. If it outgasses, and if you ingest it, it causes pain to birds. That's how it works. So it has to be either ingested or inhaled. So if it's 50 degrees out and you spray it on a beam inside a warehouse, it's not going to outgas great because it's on a beam in a warehouse that's 60 degrees. So the inhalation is not going to be there. When the stuff dries on the metal surface, it's not like it scratches off on the birds. It doesn't work that great by itself in those scenarios.
Okay.
So on the grass siding of a building for woodpeckers, that's a no-brainer because if you're doing geese eat it, and they ingest it, and it hurts no matter what, and it gets warm out. When you spray for geese, if you do the sidewalk, blacktop, and the grass, then what happens is it outgasses better on the cement and the blacktop does on the grass. So now, so it works really good. No scenario. Same thing with woodpeckers. You spray the side of a building with a tank mix. The birds see purple. Birds only see purple. I get that question a lot this spring. So the birds see purple. They peck a couple times and it tastes like garbage.
Yeah.
And they learn right away this purple stuff is not working for me, and they go someplace else. But you do the same thing on a beam inside of a warehouse. Not so much.
Yeah.
So I've had one fellow call me. I said, I've been spraying for 3 months and the birds are still here. I said, you could be spraying for a year. They're still going to be there. Then I had to kind of save his bacon a little bit by talking to the operations manager and just explain, hey, this is the first, this is a good first step.
Okay.
It's not a good first step, but we had to,
Yeah.
schmooze
So
it a
what
little
would you
bit.
do there then?
Well, gel and UV paint.
Okay.
So if you have a gigantic facility, that's really big, that's where people get in trouble. You get like these big buildings are 100,000 square feet or even 40,000 square feet. The birds fly through the open doors. They land on beams anywhere they want to go, and they start pooping on things.
Yeah.
But to treat the entire facility with a net, 40,000 square feet, so it could be $120,000 netting job. Even if you do gel and UV paint, it's $60,000. Nobody's going to invest that money right away. So we take a different approach. We say, hey, look, you got the doors wide open. So we'll put some of our dispensers near the doors. Birds fly in. Let's treat the first 10 feet in, and we'll identify some sensitive areas where you don't want to see bird poop. And then we'll set up like a bi-monthly trapping program.
Okay.
So the whole idea is now we're doing, we're treating the entryways. We have some gel and UV paint in sensitive areas. We can do a trapping program, and we're spraying the tank mix in and around the doors, bumper guards, building, that kind of thing. And now you have a program. And then as the birds move and react to what we're doing, we can change the program.
Okay.
We can add a little more gel. We can do this and do that. And what happens is if you do a program, you set it up the right way, people see the money they spend and they see the results they get.
Yeah.
And then they can budget it in to go, okay, we have to add a little more. This is working.
Yeah.
Let's take the next step. And then that's how you do it. Most people go in and they don't know what to do, or they want to sell the guy a net. And, I love netting. It's a profitable thing. Well, you put a net up, then the birds just drop down into racking or just move on the walls.
Well, that's the craziest thing. You get pictures of all the birds just sitting right below the netting. They don't go away.
Exactly. And then you look, stupid because this guy just spent $120,000 and he still got the same birds there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get people to see that. Guys that don't know anything about bird control, they don't know anything.
Yeah.
They just know nets, spikes, spinner things. And, we've been in the business long enough. We know how the birds are going to react, So, and migratory birds are different than residential birds. So it's been a lot of fun because, like I said, I've been going around the country teaching. Everything I did like 9 states in the last couple months,
busy.
but a bunch of different groups of people I'm talking to. And you see how they approach things and what they've been doing in their parts. Different parts of the country do bird control a little differently. And they're all fundamentally doing things that will work if you mix and match it with our stuff. A lot of times they're doing, they're taking one product and putting it up. And doesn't solve the problem. It just irritates the birds a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. So that's what's been going on with me. So it's been fun. I know you guys have been busy in the office, right?
Yeah.
I know the bird bombs are flying out the door. The bird pucks are flying out the door. It's been great. So that's cool. So let's talk about the ozone.
Yes.
That's my next favorite thing. I love the tank mix. I love the way we do stuff. But the ozone I've always been looking for ways of keeping birds from flying through open doors and then from loafing in different areas inside a building, So we've done about, I think, 8 installs. And so far it's going really, really well.
Yeah.
So what we did with the ozone boxes is that we put this super bright blue LED light on them.
We should have brought an ozone.
Well, I have photos. Rob can cut them right in. Rob's the man. I just send Rob photos, and he makes us look really smart here. He's the producer behind the scenes. So anyway, I read some stuff, and University of Purdue and some other universities have done studies for migratory birds. So what happens is around oil rigs and buildings, birds will fly into them at night and crash and get hurt and stuff. Same thing with windmills. The minute they've tried different types of lights, and birds react really well to blue lights.
Okay.
Red, blue's better.
Okay.
Especially blue flashing lights. But blue lights, even just bright blue LED lights, it does something to them. You'd have to read this study. I'm not a scientist here, but the scientist says it bothers them. So that's what we did. We have a light on the ozone box that indicates that it's on or off. And if the ozone box gets dirty, and what happens is it gets dirty because it's a small electrical charge.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a small electrical charge. It just goes off nonstop. And then what happens, it's like a spark plug after a while, some carbon builds up. And the minute the carbon builds up and the ozone level that's coming out of the box drops, that blue light will flash. And then, you have to go up and clean it with a Q-tip and rub it on there for about 30 seconds, and then you're good for another 4 months. Okay. And that varies depending if you use a timer or just leave them on all the time. But what was really cool now is we've seen that the blue light falls right into everything else that we do. A visual with the consequence. So if we were just to hang ozone boxes up high and in the racking, birds would get affected by them, but they really wouldn't understand why.
Yeah.
So it takes birds 3 weeks, residential birds about 3 weeks to actually learn what's going on.
Okay.
So if you have the ozone boxes up high with those blue lights on, and you put them in the racking down below with the blue lights on, what happens is the birds they'll come and they'll experiment, they'll get near because they don't understand. Every time they're near the ozone box, they get a tickle in their throat and it's irritating.
Okay.
That's how the ozone affects them. And they just can't take the tickle, but they don't know. But once they see the blue light, they react really fast.
Okay.
It takes probably 3 weeks to really get them to move really far away, but it cuts down on what they're doing right away. And it takes a couple of days for the ozone boxes to work, because what happens is as the ozone comes out of a box, it's heavier than air, so it drops. Anything that it hits, it immediately cleans and turns into oxygen.
Okay.
So if there's a bunch of beams underneath it, it'll hit various beams and turn into oxygen. So that takes a few days for that to really drop. And then we're thinking each box covers about 500 square feet, but that's designed for like an 8-foot ceiling, or 500 square feet, 8-foot ceiling, that type of size. When you put it in a big open air spot, you're not going to get that big a coverage per. That's why you have to mix and match, and that's why you have to cover high and low.
Okay.
You almost have to turn your coverage area into like an 8-foot ceiling area.
Okay.
So if you put the ozone boxes up high, if you get coverage about 8 feet, and then it's going to turn into oxygen.
Okay.
And then you have to do something lower too. But what's nice is you just plug these things in, they turn on, and it irritate the birds 24/7. Then you mix and match the gel and UV paint. You can spray the tank mix, and now you have a program.
Yeah. Well, you don't even see them when they're up.
No.
They like blend right in.
You put a couple ozone boxes over. If you have open doors like roll up doors or man doors, you put those ozone boxes up there, and every time the bird flies in and flies out, you feel something weird.
Yeah.
They'll learn not to go in that door, especially if you add some other stuff to it. So that's I think the direction we're going in, and I think that's the direction that we're going to have the most success, because everybody's got roll up doors that are open all the time, and nobody's got a clue what to do. Nobody has a chance to even stop it. We have a real chance. Nothing is 100%.
Yeah.
Depending on the attraction, why they're there. Sometimes you have to fight a little bit more. So there's always some finessing to do, but I think we're on the right track. It's cool.
I would
and
agree.
so far so good. Anecdotally, it's working great. We don't have a scientist on staff. Pretty much just me and our guys. Hey, the birds are moving, So it's been working pretty good. So that's exciting for us, So what's new in the office?
Nothing.
Nothing? You got
Same old.
You think she would have prepared a little bit more, right, Rob? Don't you think, right? We're going to be on a podcast. We've had like 5 weeks to prepare.
What's new in the office?
What do you got going on? I mean, you spend 8 hours a day.
We're getting, you know what? It's funny that we are getting a lot of phone calls from farmers and geese.
There you go.
I think that's it's got to be, poor Erica. I'm always like, Erica.
Yeah, well, you know what happens?
Because she knows the mix rate and the percentage and the blower and how much to spray. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing with geese, we can go over that real quick too, is what do you do with geese, folks? So people have, the dogs. People have the dogs. Dogs are great. Love the dogs. They're very interesting, really smart. But what happens with the dogs is the guy shows up with the dog. He chases the geese away. The geese disappear. Then what happens is that flock of geese will send a scout back.
Okay.
And the scout will come back, and that dog is not there anymore. They just say, let's go, come on back.
Yeah.
And then they come back. And then the dog comes a couple days later. They just repeat it. The geese are there because they need that body of water. Most of the time, there's a body of water there.
Okay.
And that's why they're there, because geese can't fly at certain times of the year because they molt. And then they can't fly. So if there's a predator, they got to have the water. So chasing them off a property is difficult to do. If you manage to chase a population off, there's another one coming in because you got the pond. So what we do, a totally different scenario. So the only reason geese are a problem is because one goose can produce a pound of poop a day.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So you get 20 geese, you got 20 pounds of poop a day. And then they spread it around. And what they'll do is a lot of office complexes are where we see the most difficulty is that nobody's working on the weekends, or very minimal people are in the warehouse. Or maybe there's people in the warehouse, but the office is not there. So the geese will build their nests in the parking lot, in the landscaping of the parking lot, or right by the front door where there's a bush they can hide behind. And then people come to work and they have these negative interactions with the geese, and all of a sudden it's a problem, So what we do is we take our tank mix, which has, 8 active ingredients, and we add Invisadigm to the concentrate. The Invisadigm makes anything you spray look purple. Only the birds see purple. I get that all the time. Are we going to make the house look purple? No, we would never make houses look purple. It wouldn't make any sense, right? Would it be, the whole idea is to do bird control and be invisible.
Yeah.
You start making things purple, anyway, it's a legitimate question. So you spray everywhere you don't want the birds to be. You spray the sidewalks, you spray the blacktop, you spray the landscape islands, you spray the grass, and you push them where you want them to go. You can geese they're like sheep. You can guide them and teach them where to go.
Okay.
So you spray everywhere you don't want to see the geese, and give them a corner someplace. Maybe there's a place on the other side of the retention pond where nobody goes, nobody cares. You push them over there, and the next thing is you get the landscaper involved and say, hey, cut the grass a little shorter over there, because the shorter the grass is, the better it tastes. And the birds, you push them over there. It's like, hey, the grass tastes great. there's no people here, and I can still get in and out of the pond in case a dog comes.
Yeah.
And then you've solved the problem. And everybody, so now look at the baby geese way over there. It's cute. It's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
And that's how you solve that problem. And most of the time that works. I'd say 90% of the time that works. The only time you have a little bit of a problem is sometimes they build these apartment complexes that literally surround the pond.
Yeah.
And then they have a walkway around the pond, and there's no place to push the birds. And you got to get a little more creative,
Yeah. Well, that was a news article. It was all over. A town in New Jersey was having issues with geese, and they had to resort to
they euthanize them.
Yeah, killing them because
how they do that is they actually put up temporary fences.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put like a U-shaped fence up with a corral into like a pen they built, and they just shoo them in there, and they go like sheep, and they put them in a truck and euthanize them.
I know.
But then what happens is the next group comes. You know? So we've actually had some. So when we first started doing bird work, we were using just hazers and things, and people didn't understand what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So we used to get crap from PETA all the time. They called, "What are you doing? Well, how dare you?" Well, but now they understand that we're very humane and we teach birds to move and we don't hurt them. So now we actually have PETA organizations, PETA-like organizations approach us. And they'll purchase our product.
I know, and they'll save the geese.
They'll donate it to a town.
Yeah.
And I've actually gone and done some training. If they're going to donate the product, I'll donate my time to teach them. We had one very close to us that I went and did. I actually showed the guys how to do it. They had some landscapers that were going to do it because what we spray is organic, and landscapers have licenses anyway for pesticides now. And it was the same thing. They had a pond, and the people, they had a playground to get pooped on. Mm-hmm. And we did the same thing. We just pushed them to one little area, that little nook over there, and the birds were happy to be there. Yeah. And that's how easy it is, but people just don't know.
Yeah, a woman just called to buy her year supply to
once they see that it works. You have to be persistent. You have to spray 3 weeks in a row, and then once a month. And sometimes you have to make it a little stronger. But why it works so well with geese is because they eat the grass. Okay. So when they eat it, they're ingesting it. That's one way it works. Mm-hmm. Then if you spray on the blacktop and the sidewalks, that outgasses quicker because those surfaces get warmer faster than the grass does. Yeah. Eventually, the grass outgasses too. And I'll actually hold up to some decent. There's some soap in the tank mix, so if it rains a little bit, it's still good. Yeah. But if you do 3 weeks in a row and then religiously once a month, birds can be trained. And if there's a population there, another population, chances are they won't come in. Okay. So you just have that one group of birds. Yeah. And that's how you do it. So same thing with woodpeckers. Another big thing, woodpeckers.
Yeah, that is another big thing.
Woodpeckers is actually, they're just as easy. So if you have a house or a building, or we have. It gets a little more difficult when you have like a commercial building that's 50 feet tall. And what happens is the woodpeckers are way up top and they're putting holes in the drywall and the stucco. Mm-hmm. That's the word I was looking for, stucco. This beautiful stucco that's hollow behind it, and the birds peck right through it. And that's their nature. They're looking for insects. So when they see a house, especially like a wood-sided house, they'll peck a hole, and then they'll peck another hole and peck another hole. Yeah. But the tank mix works great because you just spray the side of the house where they're hanging out, and we spray the trees and the bushes around it too. You want the whole area to look purple, including the house. And that's what's nice about the tank mix. It's different when you get pest control guys, I have to tell them, hey, spray like crazy.
Yeah, because they're not used to that.
Well, they're not used to that because a lot of the pesticides that they spray are dangerous to people and dangerous to animals, Yeah. So they can't willy-nilly be spraying some termite killer, where people are going to hang out. Our stuff is pretty organic and green. It doesn't hurt anything. So we can spray like crazy, But what happens, you spray the side of a house, woodpecker shows up, he sees it's purple, doesn't really mean it, gets a little weird about it, but he's been there before. He starts pecking, he ingests some of that stuff. It tastes like crap. He learns right away, this purple stuff tastes like crap. And maybe a couple of visits, usually we tell people spray 3 weeks in a row, then monthly if you need to, but usually after a couple times, those birds are gone.
Well, a guy called and he actually said that he took your recommendations on spraying and they went away. Yeah. But he said, I had to be aggressive. I said, well, unfortunately, you have to be aggressive in the beginning.
Exactly. Well, they have to be taught. Birds are really smart. They can be taught. The only thing you have to be careful about when you spray the tank mix on any type of building is a lot of times the buildings are dirty. Yes. You may not even notice. If the whole building has a certain shade of tan, it could be a little coat of dirt on there. So you go there and start spraying that liquid tank mix on there, and all of a sudden the dirt starts running down the building. People panic, like, oh my God, what'd you do to my building? Yeah. So we always tell people, hey, rinse the building off a little bit and then spray the tank mix.
I did that to my front door.
Yeah.
I didn't follow your
instructions.
It did fade.
Yes.
It took a couple months, but the tank makes it fade. But the birds went away.
So unprepared for the podcast and not following instructions. This is great.
This was a couple years ago.
You're the perfect co-host.
Yeah, this is before I worked for you.
Yeah, so those are some of the things that we've been going through and doing. And it's been a great spring. We're very busy helping a lot of people. It's been a lot of fun. So as the summer months come up, we're going to get more and more when the seagulls start kicking in. And so we're having all kinds of fun. So anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it.
How long have you been working for us now?
It'll be 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, it goes really fast.
It does go fast.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully we shared some information with people, and we'll be doing some more of these. Hopefully I won't be traveling as much and go from there. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate your hanging out watching.